Hello, fellow cyborgs. Today I would like to discuss with you writing. I am an amateur aspiring writer. I'm definitely aspiring. I'm definitely an amateur. Don't know which order those adjectives should go in. And I just thought, why not talk with you guys about the transition from going from reader to trying to be a writer, back to the reader, just flip-flopping around in this whole world that contains words and pages and ink and paper. So I don't know about you, but when reading, you think that it's so easy. And when you see issues in authors' writings, I've thought to myself, why didn't you see this? Why couldn't you fix it? I could do this. This is so simple. You just write sentences and they work together and it's a story and it's totally fine and you just do it. Why are you disappointing me, writer? Why are you disappointing me? And yet when I write, it has been sometimes some of the most effortless, fun experiences and some of the most effortful and frustrating experiences of my entire life. Where did my writing start? I haven't been writing my entire life like a lot of people say they have or have. I know that I've sporadically written stories throughout my life. When I was first starting high school, I was going through the goth stage. I was super stressed and depressed and all that jazz, and so I was writing poetry at the time. I filled a couple books with really angsty poems that always rhymed life with strife, and it was a hot mess, but at the time, what I needed to do. When I was that age, I also wrote some fan fiction, some really terrible fan fiction about the band My Chemical Romance, because they were my favorite band when I was all gothed out and everything like that. That fan fiction was the most fun experience I've had writing. I remember thinking to myself, coming home after school, oh, I need to continue that TV show. No, wait, I wasn't watching something, I was writing something. You know, that sort of feeling, how it's just effortless and fun and it just flows and it keeps going and you have to tell yourself to stop and the ideas are just there. I had a really, really fun time writing that, even though it was absolute horse garbage. I've also in the past and have currently participated in letter games between my friends and I. And so how those work, if you haven't heard of a letter game before, is that you decide on perhaps like a setting or a place, a time, place, or a theme of these letter writing games. Someone starts with a kind of open-ended letter to the other person, and then together you slowly craft stories. So you each have your own character's like main plot, but then they might intermix and you have to bounce off of one another. It's almost like writer's improv in essence. It's super fun, super like no pressure. The only pressure is getting your letter actually to the other person, but I found it to be really fun because I've created a lot of different characters and a lot of different worlds that I probably wouldn't want to like make an actual story about, let alone a novel, but being able to explore them has really helped open up my creativity and see just what's in the old noggin. Most recently, in the last year, I have been working on a novel, and in fact, I have finished the rough draft with over 60,000 words written down coherently and everything like that. And I'm still not happy with it at all. And I just don't know how to fix it. So I'm in the process of determining things like the world, the setting, the magic system, the characters, and then I'm going to start from scratch and write it again. I'll tell you what it's about, or I'll tell you the title at least. The tentative title is Intelligence and the Beast, and it's going to be a reworking of the Beauty and the Beast fairy tale, but with the main character not being known for her beauty, being known for her intelligence, and then how that kind of changes how things happen. I don't know at all what it's really gonna be, what it's really gonna look like. I have a lot of things to figure out right now, but I love the Beauty and the Beast fairy tale. It's my favorite. I love that romance trope, and so I really wanted to play with it, but make the main female character, not a wet mop who just has things happen to her. I started writing that on the computer. I was trying to think things through as I was sitting down to write, and so it was a lot of quick finger work, stop. A thought, quick finger work, stop. A thought, and I really hated the stop, start rhythm that was happening. It felt really jarring, and I could feel when I had to stop and think. And so I switched to writing it out all longhand, and I wrote out all of it longhand in notebooks. It was actually only a notebook and a smidge of another one. After so many pages of that, I would transcribe it onto the computer, fix any obvious spelling or grammar mistakes, and then maybe put another sentence in or two as I went along. So I kind of edited as I went, but only really, really superficially. That helped me work a lot more smoothly and feeling less down on myself when I was working, because I had time for my brain to play catch up when I was writing out with my hand. So now where am I? I finished the first draft and I am kind of stuck. And so what am I doing now? I acquired a new notebook. This notebook's actually really awesome. So it's called a novel journal, and as it says, it's a journal, and this is their Brothers Grimm edition. And so these journals all come in different colors and editions of different classical works. So there's the Brothers Grimm, Sherlock Holmes, Huckleberry Finn, Jane Eyre, Pride and Prejudice, Emma, I think, The Wizard of Oz, A Great Expectations, Dracula, and there might be one or two that I missed. And so they all have a little rubber band bind that matches the dipped edges of the paper and then a different color on the outside. They have colorful end papers, and then the reason why it's called a novel journal is that the lines of the paper is made up of the story, and it's the complete work in here. They say in the front that sometimes, depending upon the length of the work, it repeats if it's not long enough to make the 100-page or whatever it was journal. But so this is the complete Brothers Grimm fairy tales written as the lines that you write on. So it feels meta somehow. And anyway, it's a really nicely made journal. It's really fun to look at. So I thought I'd just give a shout out to the novel journal. But getting back to my point. So what I have done is acquired a new journal. And in here, I'm going to start fresh, work through my ideas, and keep this as where I'm actually writing things down, but also just writing my writing process, trying to just keep me writing. So if I sit down to write and I just am frustrated, instead of just sitting there not writing anything down, I will write, I am frustrated, I feel like a crap writer, I don't know where this is going, rather than just sitting there. My idea to go from now is just to put a pen in my hand and make it do things in words on these pages. And then hopefully somewhere in there, I will have ideas and I can flesh out my characters and my world, and then feel comfortable that I have figured everything out, that I can just start writing the story and I will know what the characters will do. I know how things function. I know the layout of the house or the mansion or wherever I put them eventually. And it should hopefully be a lot less pauses of trying to figure out what happens next, and a lot more of just creating a world and a story. So far, that seems to be going pretty well. But, like I said at the beginning, I am an aspiring and amateur writer. It's hard when I was writing the first draft, because I wanted to write my best, but I was also writing for an audience that wasn't even there yet, thinking about how was I going to get published and what would happen if I got published, and those thoughts really, really get in the way. At the end of all this, if I finally finish Intelligence and the Beast, polish it enough to where I'm really happy with it, I may send it out, but what I'm trying to think of it as now is a game and a challenge for myself to write the book I wish someone else had written. So to write my favorite book, in essence, and to just get it as good and perfect in my mind at least as I can. Just a challenge for me to work and grow as a writer. Mostly these days, I've been reading a lot more than I've been writing. I've only just started with the novel journal and my new ideas. And I like to think that if you're going to be a writer, you need to be a reader as well, or else you're not getting new ideas, you're not being updated on what's happening in the field, and also you can learn from what people have already written. So I've been paying a lot of attention to sentences I really love, word usage, just anything that has to do with the craft, and not reading passively, but trying to be really engaged with what I'm reading. This is such a hard thing to talk about because it's a hard thing to do and something I struggle with, but something I'm also pretty good at least my biased family and friends say so. I've been thinking about this question and I still have no answer of why am I doing this? Why am I attempting to write a novel? Just because I'm good at something doesn't mean I have to do it. Am I enjoying this, or am I writing it to get praise? Am I writing this for myself? Am I writing this because I feel like the story needs to be told? Or am I writing this in the hopes that I will get recognition in the wide field, that I'll get published, that I'll have an audience? And I think you can have all of those motivations at once, but I think you need to ask those questions as well. It's the same reason why you do anything. You know, are you on YouTube to get subscribers, or are you on YouTube because you have something to say? Are you interested in what you're saying, or are you just making videos that you think people will be interested to hear? And it's important that no matter what creative medium we choose to exist in, that we stay true to ourselves and we create things that we are proud of and that are unique to ourselves. Each of us has something different to give to the world, and it's important that we don't try to blend those out and just to be homogenized and fit in. Because here's the thing, none of us fit in, and all of us fit in. I think that everyone has some sort of misfit aspect to them, and I think those things need to be celebrated, because no one, I don't think, ever did anything great when they simply aspired to assimilate. I hope you have found this a little bit interesting. Thank you for watching and spending this time with me as I babbled about one of my hobbies. And until next time, continue to be lovely.